And okay, this one actually made me laugh out loud when I was reading this to my husband. Facing the back of the elevator. Literally, I'm gonna try that sometime and just freak people out. Hey girl, so glad that you tuned in. My name's Bethany, and this is the Make Up Your Mind channel. You're listening to episode number 36. Whether you're actually putting on your makeup, maybe you're getting ready for work or school, maybe you're doing school at home or work at home, or maybe you don't even wear makeup. Wherever life finds you today, I hope that you remember that there are people in the world that are for you, cheering you on to succeed. Today, I hope I get to be one of those people standing like a cheerleader on the sideline of your life, reminding you and helping you to make up your mind all day long about the small things that add up to huge things later on. I wanted to give my listeners a small note to remember that we are actually going to be moving these episodes to every other week during the summer. So starting after this week, our next episode will be on June 14th, making it every other week. I hope you can catch up on the episodes that you've missed, as well as if you go on vacation, not feel like you have to miss out. The other exciting note is that this week we're starting a new series for the summer called Social Norms. This week's episode is called Why Care? So make sure you subscribe wherever you're listening and like this video, and let's get to it. Okay, ladies, let's talk makeup. It's been a couple weeks because I didn't get to it in my last episode. I have a really good friend named Tessa, and she sells Beautycounter makeup. I have kind of been resistant to trying Beautycounter because it does tend to be a little bit pricier, but I have heard raving reviews about the amazing natural ingredients involved and how good it does for people's skin. Tessa gave me some for my birthday, and so now you get to hear about it. The whole system that she gave me is the Counter Control system, and it's comes with a cleanser and a moisturizer and an acne treatment and a toner. And this is the cleanser. And let me tell you what, this cleanser actually really shocked me because most of the time if I get a cleanser that has an exfoliator in it, it tends to really dry out my skin and make my face feel really tight and like a desert. Anybody out there ever experienced that? I'm telling you what, this stuff is amazing. I come out of the shower and my skin feels so soft, so smooth. I could not believe it. I actually had to make my husband feel my face the other day when I got out of the shower because it is so smoothing. So ladies, if you want to try Beautycounter, shoot me a DM and I will get you in touch with Tessa or one of my other friends that sells this stuff. It is a little bit on the pricier side, but I kind of think it's great. So let me know if you want to give it a try. Okay, ladies, I am so excited about this coming series that we have on social norms. So you say, Bethany, what the heck is a social norm? A social norm is just something that society, everyone all around us, culture in general, has just accepted as something that is a-okay. As defined by the internet, social norms are unwritten rules of behavior that are shared by a given society or culture. So some of these rules can be about attitudes and some of them can be about behaviors. Let me give you a couple examples of a couple of social norms that you will definitely know about that are acceptable in most situations. Okay, 1, forming lines in public. We do this at counters when we're gonna buy something, at baseball games, when we're buying tickets, or at checkouts at the grocery store. It's definitely normal for humans to make lines for things. What is not normal is cutting lines. Have you been there? Have you done it? I definitely have. But imagine a big, fat, long line and you're in the middle of it and someone just decides to walk up to the front from the back and say, I'm next. Everyone would be like, what the heck, man? Get to the back of the line. Am I right? It's a social norm. Another example of a social norm that you will know about is, okay, we have to imagine this is pre-pandemic. Let's just pretend that you sneeze in public, because I know it's definitely not socially acceptable right now. It's kind of like cancel the cough, right? What does everybody do around you, even if they're a complete stranger? They say, "Oh, bless you," right? Everybody does that. It's totally normal and acceptable. There are so many social norms. I'm actually going to give you now some examples of breaking social norms, and I want you to feel how cringy some of these are, or also how funny some of them are. If you think they're cringy and funny, that means that in the back of your mind, you know what is normal and acceptable in society. If you don't understand why these are funny or cringy, then maybe you don't follow the social norms. Maybe you should figure that out. Okay, so some examples of breaking social norms. Having an animated conversation with yourself in public. How goofy would that be? Talking on the phone in public with your phone on speaker. Everyone around you looking at you. You're like at the grocery store and you're like, what the heck, man? Okay, this is a good one. Getting closer than a foot to somebody while you're having a conversation. Okay, space. Like, back it up. Am I right? Have you ever had someone do that to you? Oh my gosh, it's so uncomfortable. Here's a really good one. Not flushing the toilet. What? Who would do that? And okay, this one actually made me laugh out loud when I was reading this to my husband. Facing the back of the elevator. Literally, I'm going to try that sometime and just freak people out. Okay, another elevator one. When there's only 2 people in the elevator and the other person is a random stranger, going over and standing super close to them. Okay, a couple other weird ones. Driving backwards in a drive-thru, not acceptable. Picking your nose in public. And how about saying goodbye when you answer your phone? Weird, right? Not okay. I definitely prefer a Buddy the Elf. What's your favorite color? Okay, I know that these examples are all really extreme and goofy, and like, why would you really do them? But they're to show you that we actually do have a lot of established social norms as a culture. Everything that we do and everything around us has some sort of a protocol. Society in general has expectations of us and boxes that we have to fit in while we are in public, maybe also in private. But during this series, I actually want to talk about social norms, things that are totally normal that happen around us that are maybe not actually very healthy. Because there's definitely some of those things that society deems as fine, normal, and justified that are not good for our hearts, our souls, or our relationships. During this series, I'm going to talk about topics like entitlement, rights, freedoms, pornography, hustle culture. I'm hoping to talk about things like justifying yourself and maybe avoidance of pain. And we might even have time to get to coping mechanisms before the fall. Today, as we start this discussion, I just want to point out one social norm that I don't think is very healthy, and that is caring only about myself. It's the idea that taking care of my number one is more important than anybody around me. It's kind of a selfish attitude, and it's basically saying that nobody around me's thoughts or feelings really matter all that much. A lot of the time, we do this because we're in pain because of another circumstance that's happened to us, and we're not really working through that pain, and so we just decide to shut other people out. It's actually like a hardening of our hearts towards others just due to experiences, as well as our culture teaching us that that's actually normal. Have you experienced this before? Maybe somebody else was only looking out for themselves and they treated you rude or inconsiderately, and it made you feel really bad and actually kind of angry at them because in the end you actually felt just less than. There are all kinds of reasons why that can happen to you, but for a moment, I just want you to take a second to remember how that felt for someone else to do that to you. Sometimes when stuff like that happens to us, it causes us to react. It causes us to want to put our fists up in front of us and just fight that person or fight back or even just fight off the world. It makes us want to never have that happen to us again, to like self-protect, to keep ourselves safe from bad people and bad situations like that happening to us ever again. But here's the thing. I want us to look at that from a different perspective. What it could do, and honestly what I think it should do, is cause us to actually move towards other people with compassion. Instead of closing up and walling up and putting walls around our hearts and saying, stay out, I'm looking out for number one only, it should actually cause us to go, wow, that really hurt. I hope I haven't hurt others like that. I really believe that compassion and empathy for others are heart attitudes that are lost in our society. A lot of the time, they're deemed as weak, but actually, it takes a whole lot of strength to not put up the walls, but to move towards others. I would argue that it's actually the weaker move to build the walls around yourself. The definitions for compassion and empathy are: compassion is sympathetic pity or concern for the sufferings of others. And empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. What would it look like? What would our world be like if we actually opened our eyes to the feelings and experiences of other people? How would it change how we treat people around us if we actually saw them where they're at? Guys, I'm not even talking about this in a Christian way. I just mean like a human to human level. What if I saw the people standing in line with me, right? Social norm, standing in line with me at Winco as other humans with thoughts and feelings and needs and hurts. It actually stops me from getting irritated at other people and causes me to look at them with empathy and love and want to help. This one time I was actually driving on the freeway with my husband, Dionis, and how many of you out there have ever experienced irritation at another driver, whether you were the driver or not, right? We're driving and this person is cutting us off and then driving slower, and Dionis is like, "Get out of my way," right? Well, I said to him, "Honey, what if that person is like on their way to the hospital because their wife is dying?" Like, you can't just look at everybody the same way just because you're pissed off at them. What if that person actually has some really hard stuff going on in their life? And you know what? I think every person has really hard stuff going on in their life. Pretty much, if you live in this world, you can't escape hard stuff, whether it's relational stuff, physical stuff, body stuff, emotional stuff, whatever it is, we all have stuff happening. And we can't treat people like they're robots. Girl, here is our quick scripture wrap up. This is Philippians 2:1-4. And it says this in the Message version: "If you've gotten anything out of following Christ, if his love has made any difference in your life, being in a community of the Spirit, if it means anything to you, if you have a heart, if you care, then do me a favor, agree with each other, love each other, be deep-spirited friends. Don't push your way to the front. Don't sweet talk your way to the top." Here it is right here. Are you ready? "Put yourself aside and help others get ahead. Don't be obsessed with getting to your own advantage. Forget yourselves long enough to lend a helping hand." What if we changed the norm? I might ask you this every single week this summer. What if the new norm was actually caring for other people, even strangers? How would our world look so different? It requires us to see them as humans. What does that look like for you today? Girl, thank you so much for joining me today for this episode of Make Up Your Mind. As always, be sure to subscribe wherever you're consuming this content, whether it's on YouTube, Facebook, IGTV, or any of the podcast platforms. Remember, our next episode will be in 2 weeks, June 14th, on Social Norms. Be sure to not miss it. If you're graduating, I am so excited for you and praying that this next season is amazing. Girl, remember, you are valuable and you are loved, so deeply loved. Can't wait to hear from you this week. Make sure you DM me on Instagram because I would love to hear all about what's going on in your life. And until I see you in 2 weeks, I'll catch you on the socials.